All right. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for tuning in for the Real Rookie Racing GT3 race at Vallelunga. We've got a tight grid on an even tighter circuit. For our fourth race out of 5 in our third split season event of 2025. Thanks for tuning in to my basement portal to Rome, Italy, where we will continue this series for the remainder of the 2025 Season 3, official Season 8 of the Real Rookie Racing GT3 series. We've got 9 on the grid. Times are tight between everybody. I expect to see some solid racing. Let everybody get out on the track and on to their initial laps here. And we will follow along as Speed Bump looks to be the first one out on a flying lap across the line here. Currently, we've got a 15-degree air temp and a 21-degree track temperature. Winds appear to be a low 6 kilometers an hour out of the south-southwest. Shouldn't help, shouldn't hurt any of the cars on track today. Speed Bump did set a purple sector 1 initially. However, it looks like Clutch Rust has already topped that by 0.2 of a second on the initial lap here. I expect to see times go down as temperatures go up, but we should see some pretty solid racing out here tonight. Does look like Speed Bump did manage to beat Clutch Rust in Sector 2 at this point, but we'll have to see what the times look like as the race progresses. We got a nice variety on the field here. We've got Audis, McLarens, Nissans, Porsches, BMWs, Lamborghinis, and Ferraris. Almost everything that there is to offer from the Kunos GT3 pack built into the native game. If you're interested in joining any of our races, we run official seasons for MX5 and GT3 on Mondays and Fridays. And we run open races when there is no season race, as well as open races Monday through Thursday and an iRacing series every other Saturday at this point in time. Looks like we have our times starting out strong here with Speed Bump setting a 1:10.4 and Clutch Rust setting a 1:10.6, almost a 1:10.7. However, Clutch Rust was able to get down to a 1:10.1 in practice. Some of these guys on the track here have done well over 100 laps of practice for this racing event. Others on the track have as little as 4. It looks like we do have a 10th driver joining, and we should see some consistent improvements to start with here as these times tumble down in the beginning. We're going to jump back to Botlando, who is just setting his first timed lap with a 1:12.1. We did see him tinkering in the 1:11s earlier in the race here. We got Posh coming through in the Z4 with a major improvement at this point in his lap. Let's see him come around this final corner here, come through Roma, and come across the line here just over a 1:13. Well, I expect to see those times go down as the race goes on. We've got Bullet crossing the line here with a 1:14.7. He was at the bottom of the practice lines, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. We got Soup coming across the line here on his first out lap with a 1:15.9. Soup is one of our faster drivers, so we'll hang in here and see what kind of a lap he can put through. We do see Seb Bellew with a Sector 1 that is faster than anyone else on track right now, as well as an improvement in Sector 2, so we'll tune in with him as he rounds the final corner and comes across the line with a 1:10.9, which is a little bit slower than his previous lap. So we'll jump back on board with Soup here. We see Botlando crossing the line now with no improvement. We've got Posh just in front of Soup here on an improvement. So we'll hang in with Soup as he comes through these final corners in the Lamborghini. This track is definitely not the best suited track for the Lamborghini, just due to how nimble it requires the cars to be throughout these tighter corners in this track. Soup is up for a pretty big improvement on his outlap. His initial lap was a 1:15.9. Looks like we're going to come through in a 1:12 here on this lap. Yep, a 1:12.6. That will push him up into P5 for the moment. We do have 3 drivers already in those 1:10s and a couple drivers yet to set a time here today. As my first co-commentator does manage to join in with me here. We've got Base Cannon. I do expect Jawa also to be joining in later tonight.
Yeah. How's it going?
Not too bad. I think we're going to have a good race. Times are tight. I think the majority of the grid was within about a second and a half of each other. And it is a 45-minute race on laps just over a minute long.
Oh, I'm excited for this.
There will definitely be some mental fatigue coming into play on this one.
Oh my God, what are these Lambo drivers going to do? It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 of them on the track right now with Soup and Bullet, both of them at the bottom of the pack. I was talking about it earlier. The Lamborghini can excel at these tracks just due to the massive amount of acceleration it can have. However, it does struggle on rotation, as we both very well know. We got Clutch Russ in the McLaren coming across the line here into a tentative pole position with a 1:10.2. That's about a 1/10 of a second off of his quali time. But everybody else is out on improvements as well, as we've got Dingleberry Nutcracker as well coming across the line with a 1:10.9. So we'll jump back here. We'll see if Botlando's on an outlap, so we'll hang in with him here for a few minutes while he tunes in for a flying lap. Does look like he is running into some traffic coming out of the pits, his fellow Porsche. However, it does look like he gets through without any issues.
It looks, the cars look excellent on track, I have to say.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. There is still some livery pack issues for me. I think some of the older liveries are not included in the most recent pack update. So there is a couple cars on the track that just look plain red or white or black. Looks like Botlando had a bit of a cut there. We'll see if this lap is clean. But Clutch Russ did improve again here to a 1:10.174. That is about 0.06 of a second slower than what he had in the practice.
Clutch Russ spinning out in the McLaren. Oh my goodness.
Got speed bump coming through with a minor improvement as well. They are within a 1/10 of a second of each other right now. It'll be interesting to see the McLaren and the Audi, both of those cars, excel on tracks like these.
The Audi I'm especially intrigued by because it can, with the setup dialed in well, the car can handle some curves and some good medium speed corner grip. So the Porsche also, in theory, going to be working out really well. Going to be a lot kinder, I think, on those, hopefully on those rear tires in comparison to something like even the BMW. But
we got Dean in the
Ferrari driver on track.
Yeah, we've got almost everything on the track here.
Man,
we can see Soup did manage to get down into the low 111s with that Lamborghini so far. So I do expect
There
to
we
see
go.
him coming through even faster. So Dean did come through on that last lap with a 112.5. We got our ya boy Cable out on his attempt to set a clean one here. We got Posh rounding Roma, the final bend of the turn, and up 4/10, going to drop down to the 112.1. And as I was saying earlier, everybody's within about a second and a half, 2 seconds of each other. So there should be some pretty solid battles going on today.
I cannot wait for this Clutch Russ speed bump. Dingleberry Nutcracker. That's forgive me, who is that again? That's traditionally
That
what's
is
his username.
Yeah, that's Buggy. So
that's Buggy. Oh my
Yep.
god.
Yep.
Oh my god, this guy.
Also,
well, hey, I'm excited for that battle. That if Speed Bump and Clutch Russ are slowing each other down, you know Buggy's gonna get in there.
oh yeah, same with Seb and Vallelunga. I'm super excited for this one. These top 6 plus Dean, if he can keep consistency down, are constantly fighting with each other for position on this track. We do have Clutch Russ up another 1/10 of a second through the first sector here. And he actually didn't improve in Sector 1, so he found that time entering into Sector 2.
Look at the car control, the placement into the braking zone, making the entry as wide as he possibly can for these tight, short, and slow corners. Especially this final rounding hairpin there. It's such a slow corner. You really can, especially once the tires are heated up and you've come out of that high-speed flowing section, you're like, wait, what do I have to do? And you have to kind of shift your brain around for a lot slower apex speeds, but you get to hang it around the outside of that final corner, which Clutch seemed to be doing. Let's see what he clocks in on the timing board here in just a moment.
Yeah, he ended up losing that delta that he had gained there, but Speed Bump was up going into that last corner, but unfortunately lost the time again here.
That is a shame.
We will jump through the grid and see if we can find anybody out on an improvement or out on an outlap here. We've got Big Team Energy on an outlap, about to start a flying lap with traffic behind him.
appears to be improving in the Porsche.
Yeah, he is toying with his best lap right now. A good exit out of the final corner, and he could definitely see him jump up the timings here as he breaks deep into Roma, gaining the time back, but a little slow on the throttle. A minor improvement on this lap, it looks like. Not quite enough to drop down into those 110s.
But the way that the Porsche hooks up on this track is really, Kuno's cars on Kuno's tracks work really well, and it's great to see them doing their thing, especially in that section of corners right there. Really wonderful to see. Oh, not wonderful to see Posh. Commentator's curse. Wonderful to see the way that the cars are using the downforce and able to keep stuck to the track in those windy, fast corners. Really enjoying this one so far. Oh, Mr. Cable in the wall again, unfortunately. Final corner. So he's having some oversteer issues as we catch up again with Mr. Clutch Russ in the first sector.
I jumped around. I didn't see anybody really out on an improvement. We got Soup here, who is just ahead of Clutch Russ and is out on an improvement. 2/10 up going through the S into Roma for the final corner. We'll see if he can hook it up through that final corner, get a nice power off the line, and gain some of that time here. He is on the pace with a purple Sector 2 from Clutch Russ. As we see Soup must have had a cut on that last lap.
Oh, big lap from Nutcracker there. Big lap.
Yeah,
we got a 110.8.
Yep. Got a 110.6 for his quali lap right now.
I'm seeing that now.
Even with the purple Sector 2, Clutch Russ does not improve on that last lap.
Ooh.
It is pretty wild to see how much some of these guys have improved in their time here so far.
Absolutely. Speed Bump using really, from what I can tell, because he's such an experienced driver, but to really work with these guys and to show them what it's like to dice it up, and to bring them up with him and to fine tune all of their skills together in a way like this has been a lot of fun to watch over the past couple seasons or races as well with the GT3 drivers. But man, really doing a great job, all of these guys.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy watching just the improvement that these guys have done over the past couple seasons here. I mean, this is season 8. We've been doing this now for going on. This is deep into, let's see, 23, 24. This is deep into our 3rd year of running our races here now.
That's crazy. That is crazy. We got speed bump in the pits.
Yeah, and we will have a weather update here momentarily.
Oh!
As Bullet loses it through the final corner, unfortunately.
Oh.
We got Big Dean Energy out on an improvement, drops down into the 111, so 111.9 here.
Woo! There we go, Dean.
Clutchup's on an out lap. Dingleberry Nutcracker up for an improvement, it looks like. We'll hang in with him as he comes through Cornatino.
Also, we gotta, it has to be said, shout out Seb Bellew, Nissan GTR in the 110s. Let's get a shout out to Seb. That car is not suited for this track at all.
Yeah, big shout out to Seb here.
Actually, I imagine the Nissan would do pretty well here if you gave it a higher downforce setup. So, it's so soft. It's just the slow corners. They've got to be pretty tricky, but otherwise...
Clutch Rust with a purple sector 1. So we'll hang in here as that means he is on an improvement on his lap. As
he does have traffic, but that's got to be a cut. That's got to be a cut.
That one is pretty forgiving. So we'll hang out here and see if that is a cut or not.
We'll see. Oh, is he going to be blocked by the other driver? Oh, that's such a shame.
Gets caught up with traffic. We do have an 11th driver joining the grid for tonight. There is still 13 minutes left of qualifying.
Excellent. We have another Ferrari driver. There we go.
Yep, we got another Ferrari driver with Brendan here. We got your boy Cable up on an improvement with entering the final corner. We'll see if he can pull it together. Unfortunately, he is the one who got in Clutch Rust's way after that purple sector 1. But if he can get a clean lap on the table, which it looks like he may have had a cut in sector 3, unfortunately, and that one did not count. Clutch Rust's lap did count, even with the traffic. He did lose a significant amount of time. But that long drift out was within what the simulator is detecting as a acceptable line.
Fair enough.
We got Bullet out on an improvement.
They're going to race on it if it's there. Oh. Big chop on the apex curve there, and they had to go out wide on the exit of that corner. Tough exit there, but it looks like an outlap and inconsequential for the moment. He's going to try to hook it up for another one. Final corner. Look at that. That's awesome. That's such a great camera angle to see the way that the cars grip up so differently. Only lost 0.2 to his personal best, but he's going to return to pits.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he was running a little low on fuel here. Let's check in on the weather. The air temperature has gone up to 17 degrees centigrade here, and the track temp up to 23. Let's see if the winds shifted at all. And they did. It's a big east wind now, so that's going to be a strong headwind on that long straight out of the final corner. But it is going to help them through a good portion of Sector 2 and entering into the final corner of Sector 3.
And honestly, I think having that headwind going into the braking zone for the first braking zone at the end of Sector 1, that's going to be... it's not... While they're going to suffer on the straightaway itself, the headwind is not hurting anybody in the braking zone for sure.
Oh, definitely not. And some of these cars have so much aero. I think that the cars that will likely feel it the most are probably going to be Seb and potentially Speed Bump with that Audi and that Nissan. Just a little bit less.
Oh yeah.
Less.
It's so weird. It's so weird with the way that it handles its aerodynamics, and when you change the the splitter and the rear wing. It gets very touchy if you try to go for a higher speed setup. So definitely have to be careful, and speed bump managing well. Still only, what is that, less than a tenth away from clutch rust now, so.
Yeah, if we look at the splits here, we've got the top 5 all within 3/4 of a second, and top 6 within about a second of each other here.
This is awesome.
We do have Seb in that Nissan out on a slight improvement. See if we can pull it together through the final corner here. Looks like he's a little slower on the throttle. And not able to improve, but consistently putting in those 110.7s.
It's a good place to be in. Very good. Oh, clutch out in the middle of the field. Must have had a moment. And we missed it. Honestly, probably better for him. But he's back in the pits. Following up the Big Dean energy, still improving. Knocking down that time, 10th by 10th. He's pushing hard. He's probably adjusting the setup here and there as well.
Yeah, I would imagine that there's some minor adjustments to his tire pressures, maybe a little bit of ARB tweaks that are going on for him.
Nice smooth entry. Takes a little wide of the apex, but he's able to carry a little more speed, but also goes and dips a couple tires into the sand. He's down about half a second.
Jump back with
big
Posh,
speed. Oh, Posh. Oh my
who
god.
is up, entering Semaforo.
Those front brakes were on fire.
See if he can manage to keep together. He does bail out of that lap. We got Bullet on an outlap here. We'll come back to him in just a moment. We've got Soup toying with his best lap. Only about a 10th behind right now. Going into Semaforo. And see if we can carry a little bit more speed through these corners and keep that delta back here. We can see him drop down into those 110s. He could be in contention for the race series here. Soup always seems to pull it together when the race starts.
It's true. It has been fun to see him learn the ways of Assetto Corsa, and also racing in Assetto Corsa, and how to handle that on track. So he's been doing some good improvement, as we see. He does set a personal best, but it does not go into the 110. So we're gonna find out. It appeared that Big Dean Energy is up big on his personal best lap.
Yeah,
he's up
3/10 here, coming through these final corners. Unfortunately, loses some of it coming through the S there into
Dean.
Roma on the final corner. We'll see if he can carry a little more speed through here.
Come on, Dean.
Unfortunately, he has to lift coming out of the corner to avoid going in the gravel.
For shame. It's okay. You know what? Good consistent lap time. I'm sure he'll knock that in for the race. He might even be running with more fuel just to get the practice in.
Yeah, get his mindset off of the quali and into the race.
That's what this so far for Dean, because he's been out there running laps, if I'm not mistaken. Like consistent, like running long stints in this qualifying session. So it would not surprise me if he gave himself like a decent amount of fuel and just said, "I'm just going to go for it and see what I can do."
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
That will. Oh, is he? Yeah, as we're starting to see some of that tire degradation taking its effect.
Yeah, as we see the Porsche slide into the gravel just behind him here. We have a fastest sector 1 here from Sed Bellew in the Nissan.
Whoa. Oh, looks like something happened. Whoa. He must have did he cut somewhere? What happened?
No, he just took a wider entry line. He was carrying more speed than he expected, but he's still fighting with his delta here.
Yeah, he set a very fast sector 1. Very, very fast sector 1. Almost 0.2 quicker than all the previous drivers. Or all the drivers ahead of him on the leaderboard at the moment. Come on, keep it on the apex. Get on the throttle. just a tenth away.
Still consistent in that 110.7, 110.8 range. You know, Seb's got to be happy with that, especially in a car not as well suited for a track like this.
Look at it move, though. Big rear wing on the Nissan.
We've got clutch trust here. Boyan with his delta at the start of his lap. He's still down that 0.06 of a second that he had in the qualifying race, or in the practice session beforehand. So I wonder if he's trying to break into those 109s here. I definitely know that the McLaren is capable of finding that time. He's just got to hook up a lap.
He lost that 10:30 and he's got traffic now, so that is unfortunate.
Yeah, that's going to be another thing that comes to be a big factor in this race is traffic management. Even though these guys are only 2-3 seconds off of each other, one mistake and a car is going to be fighting lap traffic.
Absolutely.
We got Bullet warping around a little bit, but we do have the anti-collision turned on. It did look like Clutch House may have panic teleported when he saw the car teleporting back towards him.
Which is fair enough. There's 4 minutes left in the session, enough to get a couple laps in, and with some fresh tires and low fuel, and see what you can make the most out of. Look for a gap in the traffic and send it. Send it. Come on, Seb. You can do it, man. Oh, he's hauling. Man, you can see it rumble over the bumps in the road over there. Oh man, that was a really great line from him. It was a little slow on the trail braking, but he had a really nice driving line. Oh, a little bit of curve. Unfortunate, and he returns to pits. He's probably gonna drop his fuel. Maybe he can make some setup changes.
Yep, they've got time for 2 more flyers if they leave the pits now. So let's see who takes advantage of that.
Seb is going back out. Clutch Russ also still in the pits, but he appears to be the only driver other than Bullet. Everybody else giving it one final go. So we have speed bump. Is this his out lap? It would appear to be. Could be wrong. Nope.
No, it looks like this is one of his flying laps here.
See how well the Audi hangs on. Audi doing a better job mid-corner there to keep all at least 2 tires on within the white lines. Looks like it's able to handle and balance its weight better in those transition corners in between high and low speed. Using as much of the track as he possibly can without unsettling the car. Really well managed in the fast chicane. Goes back into the pits. Oh, and somebody drove themselves into the wall. That was your boy Cable.
See some of these guys get their final flyers in as we see Dingleberry starting a flyer here. Crossing the line there, he has time for 2 more before the session will end here. To see how traffic comes into play. Unfortunately, on a short track like this, you have to find that clear air, or else you are at the mercy of the slower traffic in front of you.
Let's see what Buggy can do. He's still just about a 10th down in his personal best in Sector 1, but he is keeping up in pace with the other 2 drivers in that sector, it appears. Oh, wow. As the Lamborghini driver bails out of the way, he grabs a little bit of the sand, but it didn't seem to hamper him that much. He's not up on his time now. Yeah, he's still down 8/10, so no massive improvement. But
we'll jump through here. We've got Seb out on the start of his final flyer, so we will hang in here. Some of these guys may be able to get an extra one in during the overtime, but we will jump on with Seb Bellew for his final official flyer within the regulation time. Some of these guys may manage to set a time during the overtime wait period after that has rolled over.
Really well managed by Seb. Great corner exit. Let's see what he can do in this fast-flowing section of track. Hang on to the car. Wide entry, hard on the brakes. Asking a lot of the front tires there. Wide on the apex. Hopefully doesn't get into the sand, he doesn't. Catching up to his previous best time. Still about 3/10 away. Gaining and losing, a bit of tug and war back and forth as Clutch Russ puts in a fastest Sector 2 by quite a margin, by 3/10. Lord almighty, he's up big. Oh man. He appears to be up big time right now. Oh, not that much actually. What the hell?
The jump back. Dingleberry crossing the line. He's not going to improve here. We do have Clutch Russ, who was toying with an improvement, but appears to have lost it throughout the final part of Sector 3 there. As the official overtime session is ended, some of you guys still on track. We'll extend that overtime slightly, getting a little bit more practice in.
Clutch Russ is the only driver to officially have crossed the finish line so far. Everybody else is in the pits or finishing their flying lap. Let's see, as we see Posh. Does he improve? 9th place.
See if speed bump
no.
tries to get one more flyer in here.
Looks like he's going to attempt to squeeze it in.
While he is doing that, I will make sure that my drone camera is configured, which it appears to be. So we are good to go from there.
Nice.
And the qualifying session has officially ended here. I am excited for this one.
This is going to be good. This is, with such tiny gaps between each driver, it's less than a tenth between the front two. 3/10 away from 3rd place, and 4th place is only half a tenth away from him. So we've got good stuff, and I'm especially excited to see if Botlando can do anything in the slipstream of that Nissan GTR. We're going to see some fast straight line versus good cornering at the front of the field. So I'm excited. This is going to be good. We're loading up.
Definitely going to be an exciting race here with these guys on the track. And we will switch off of the lazy auto cam track cams here and go to our tried and trusty drone camera so we can get a good view of all the action as it happens. For the race session, we got 30 seconds till everybody ends up on the grid here. I will try to remember to teleport the van back to the pits. Although it would be kind of funny to leave the van out again. Oh, I forgot to turn off the text overlay. Commentary has started, so. Alright, so we'll hit here. We will teleport our car to the pits. Make sure we are in the pits here, which we appear to be. Switch to our cockpit camera, jump to the front of the grid. Do you want to give a rundown of our top times here?
Yeah. We've got speed bump with the, oh man, hold on.
It's actually Clutch Russ here.
Oh yeah, hold on. Results. Clutch Russ with a 110.174. Speed bump in second with a 110.269. Dingleberry Nutcracker, also known as Buggy, is 110.6 in 3rd place. Seb Bellew in 4th in the Nissan GTR with a 110.7. Botlando in 4th place with the Porsche 911 with a 110.8. Soup in the Lamborghini Huracan with a 111.1. Very, very close times here. Dean, Big Dean Energy in the Ferrari 488 GT3, a 111.599. Brendan in the other Ferrari, bringing it up just behind him, 111.873. Posh in the BMW in 9th place, 112.1. Bullet in the Huracan in 10th place, 113.1. And your boy Cable with a 117. He struggled a little bit to get a clean lap in there, but hopefully he's set to improve. We're alive and alive.
Lights up.
Forward lights.
away we go.
Here we go.
Slow start from Dean at the back there. We've got Soup shooting around the outside and Speed Bump crazy off the line here. Jumping directly up into the front. Everything's clean so far. A little bit of rubbing, but everybody has gotten off the line clean. We'll see if there's any braking mishaps into T1 as the leaders make contact and Speed Bump goes off track. Evasive action is taken at the
It's happened immediately.
back of the grid. We've got more contact up in the front. We've got a Ferrari off as well as a BMW here at the back of the grid. And Dingleberry Nutcracker has taken the lead.
Clutchless does appear to have backed off.
Yep, Clutchless
significantly
did allow Speed Bumps to take that position back after that late braking mishap. We've got Soup directly on the inside of Vallelunga coming into the S here. With Speed Bump directly on the tail. We see them catching up with Bullet, who did manage to get through cleanly, as Soup sticking his nose directly up on the inside of Vallelunga. We do see Bullet is teleporting around a little bit with the lag there. Fortunately, he is flashing, which means that his collision is disabled. We have Vallelunga going wide, allowing Soup and Speed Bump to get by. Bullet staying in front. At the moment, we've got a decent battle going on at the front here with Seb Bellew within 9/10 of Dingleberry Nutcracker. This is a 45-minute race, so these early mistakes are not game wreckers for these guys. We've got Soup making it past Bullet and Speed Bump fighting around the inside. Flips in front of Bullet. We got Brendan making a move on Posh further back, but Speed Bump is directly on the inside of Soup. Almost contact again.
Ooh, that's close racing. That's really well managed from both of them, though. Really, really well managed. He's looking up the inside again. Is he going to try to outbrake him? He will try, but the Lamborghini's ability to hang on to its momentum in the corners like that is really what sets it apart. As Seb Bellew sets the fastest lap within 3/10 of Buggy in the slipstream in the Nissan GT3.
Clutchless also just slips in with the fast with the purple sector 1 and sector 2 and 3 with the 111.1 early in the race. He's pushing.
Ooh.
He is on cooking those soft tires in the McLaren. So he may regret that decision later on.
Vallelunga did take the early choice of going with the off strategy, the medium tire, and knowing that it will cost him a little bit of pace.
Speed Bump did manage to make it past Soup here, and Bullet looking for the move on Soup with Vallelunga directly behind here. Bullet goes a little sideways to the corner, but gets a good exit as we see Clutchless sliding around the inside of Vallelunga as Bullet continues to look for a move on his Lamborghini brother here.
Clutchless attempted to throw it up the inside, but it didn't work out for him, as we see Bullet spinning out right before the final corner of the racetrack. That is unfortunate, as we see Seb Bellew going for the move up the inside.
Doesn't make it of curve one. It looks like he lifted a little bit to allow that.
Oh man, good racing between these two as well. Oh no!
As unfortunately, your boy Cable, who's already a lap down here, gets a little slow on the apex.
That is unfortunate.
And Vallelunga makes contact, falling back a little bit from Clutchless at the front of the grid here. We got Posh and Big Dean Energy also making contact with each other. We've got Posh and Brendan directly. Man, there's too many cars close together right now.
Too many battles. It's hard to focus on just one. Look at it as we're following a battle for the lead. Seb Bellew looking for the run off the inside of the final corner. He will, it looks like, have the lead for this lap. officially, he will be the leading car for this lap of the race. As he's the BMW trying to stick it out around the outside, gets the run. Seb Bellew with the very, very high top speed and great acceleration at the top end. Was able to stick in the slipstream, the car not very easily moved around in the wash of another car, but the BMW seemingly struggling a little bit.
Yep, I'm wondering if he broke traction and he's waiting for one of those tires to cool down a little bit so that he can get the cornering grip that he needs through here. We've got Vallelunga within a half second behind, Clutch Rust behind as well. We got Posh within 4/10 of Brendan further back. And it looks like he may... Oh, it looks like my timing screen is just going crazy here. No move made at that time. But we do have Seb Bellew and Dingleberry still right on each other's tails, making it through Roma, the final corner. These guys
Clutch Rust has made it past Vallelunga and is now in the chase behind Speed Bump. We will see those two originally leading cars from the top of the grid that came together at the first braking zone. We will see them, I'm assuming, line astern very soon on track.
Yep, and we've got Seb we've got them coming up on the lap traffic. Unfortunately, contact is made with your boy Cable, allowing Speed Bump to catch up a little bit more to these guys at the front of the pack.
This is falling into the hands. I mean, it's been exciting and it's excellent to see how hard Speed and Clutch Rust are pushing to catch back up, as well as Vallelunga. Vallelunga not falling too far away behind either of those guys. But it's great to see them having to push, and to see the fight between Seb and Buggy is fantastic. Very unfortunate that your boy Cable is struggling so much this session. Yep, hopefully he's able to figure something out.
We'll jump back up to the front here. We do have some of our faster, looking at the total gaps to the leader here. Speed Bump is only 5 seconds behind the leaders here. It said Clutch Rust was about 10 seconds behind the leader here, as Dingleberry Nutcracker starts to fall back a little bit more.
I think we're seeing those that soft tire wear, especially in the wake of that big Nissan rear wing. That is going to be causing a lot of turbulence following it through the corners. And while the BMW is able to brake later and handle some of those tighter apexes a bit better, the exit velocity that comes with that Nissan is extraordinary. So it's a great fight to see them both going back and forth and currently improving on their personal best lap times.
Yeah, we got Seb Bellew right now hitting a purple Sector 1 and a personal best Sector 2.
Unleashed into the clean air.
We got Dingleberry closing in on Seb Bellew here into the final corner again. The late brakes on that BMW allows him to close down that gap fairly substantially throughout all of Sector 2. But the just absolute top speed that this Nissan has just allows him to push hard and extend that gap a little bit through Sector 1 and the start of Sector 2. We got Dean within a second of Posh behind as well. So we'll put his onboard in the small window, as these leaders here are catching up with Bullet, who will be the first officially lapped car other than Cable, who has been struggling. As we see Dingleberry looking for the move, almost coming into contact with the diffuser of that Nissan into the S here.
Feigning the move, making him think about it.
Well, and knowing these guys, they may not be fighting too hard right now. Just trying to keep that gap to Speed Bump and Clutch Rust behind.
Absolutely.
Looks like
they both have the pace.
Did have a moment further back, and that gap to Posh that I was keeping an eye on has separated out here. Clutch Rust breaking into the 110s during the race session here. 10 minutes into the race. We still have 35 minutes to go of this race session tonight.
Oh, boys, we see Brendan and your boy Cable coming into contact again, unfortunately. Oh, Buggy. Having a wide moment.
Yep, dipping his tire into the gravel.
Oh,
We got a
boy.
Lamborghini,
Oh.
unfortunately, sideways on the track.
That is a shame. That is a shame. It happened to both of the lead cars now, so all square, I guess, on the front ends of those splitters.
Yeah, but look, just behind here, we've got speed bump and clutch rust within our camera now throughout sector 2, where that camera angle is disrupted pretty consistently by the curves in the track here.
Oh, Josh, I will have to step away for just a moment, but I will be back shortly.
Yeah, no worries. So the gap has extended from Dingleberry to Sebastian at this time due to that contact with the left traffic, unfortunately, who ended up sideways in the road there. Speed bump is closing down on Dingleberry, and I'm sure he will not fight too hard this early in the race. Trying to extend those tires, extend that fuel, to make that second stop as late as possible and as short as possible. As Dingleberry goes wide again, allowing speed bumps to come through on the inside of the corner. He does make it stick into Torrentino and over to the S. Speed bump does now have a faster driver between himself and Clutch Rust to help defend, as Clutch Rust ends up spinning behind the rear tires, just kicking out on him as he has to move aside and allow Bot Lando back through. We've got Dingleberry currently within a half a second of speed bump. He's not going to let him get away with this one easy. He's going to hug that draft and allow it to pull him through. We've got Soup just behind Brendan in that fight for P8 currently. So we will pull up his camera temporarily and see if he can manage to close that gap down. He did have a bit of a moment. Unfortunately, the gap has separated back out to 1.7 seconds. We have our first retirement for the night. Unfortunately, Bullet was not able to stick through the rest of the race session here. Speed bump is still 2.5 seconds behind Seb Bellew in front and has extended that gap to Dingleberry behind, as Yavoy Cable is off the track again into the middle of sector 2. We got Bot Lando 7 seconds behind Dingleberry here. Clutch Rust 8 seconds behind Dingleberry, as this gap is slowly closing down from Seb Bellew, or from Speed Bump to Seb Bellew. And Clutch Rust is going to have to push hard without burning his tires too much for the remainder of the race here. We've got Cable, unfortunately, has some more contact with the environment and will continue to be further back on the race here. Looking at the gaps here, we've got our 2.5 seconds for speed bump to Seb Bellew. Looking at the last lap, Seb Bellew does currently have a purple sector 1 going into sector 2, where this Nissan struggles the most on this track. Let's see if he can manage to hold it together and separate himself some more from speed bump here. Speed bump is slowly pulling away from Dingleberry. Bot Lando is also slowly gaining on Dingleberry as this lap goes on. Until the fights start to pick up a little bit more, I'm going to turn on our auto cam and let this bring us around the track until some of these gaps close up on us a little bit. We'll let the camera guy do some of the work. That's what we pay him for. We have your boy Cable, who has entered and is now exiting the pit at this point in the race into clean air. Looks like he entered behind Clutch Russ in P5 and Posh in P6, 20 seconds behind Clutch Russ here. Watch some of these gaps as they close down. We see Speed Bump has managed to close down into Seb Bellew. We have Soup entering the pits, potentially for repairs, potentially for tires. He is out on the soft tires in that Lamborghini. I would not expect him to stick with the softs if he is planning on making that final 30 minutes of the race session with his a single pit stop here. Watching some of these gaps here close down. It looks like Soup in the pits. We've got your boy Cable does end up in the dirt throughout Roma again here. Hopefully not an unsafe rejoin here in front of Posh in P6. Looks like he's managed to get off of the racing line and is allowing Posh to come through here cleanly. But Posh does end up a little wide here, as Cable looks like lost the traction and may have ended up pushing him a little wide. Speed Bump still within about 2 seconds of Seb Bellew ahead. Dingleberry 3 seconds back now from Speed Bump. Botlando and Clutch Russ further back. It looks like Soup has retired the car. Both Lamborghinis out of this race at this point in time. Let some of these gaps hopefully close down a little bit as Speed Bump continues to push on and Clutch Russ continues to push closer and closer. Clutch Russ has gained a second on Botlando. Botlando has gained a second on Dingleberry over the past couple laps here. Dingleberry is slowly falling back from Speed Bump. Looking at the last lap, it looks like Dingleberry had a moment and put up a 113 instead of the 111s that he was running beforehand. So he's still running a little wide on some of these corners, potentially a little bit of damage on the car. But we'll see if he can pull it together and keep this third podium spot in check over the remaining 27 minutes of this race. You got Posh with a 30-second gap right now to Clutch Russ. Able to just focus on his own race, his own lines, and look for pushes. We got Clutch Russ setting the fastest lap of the race again here with a 110.8. And watching Speed Bump ease that gap down again to about 2 seconds. We'll see if he can manage to close that one up. Big Dean Energy goes a little bit wide through the S into Roma, and we'll see if he can manage to hold this one together. You can see that front end damage on his car. I'm sure that is not helping in some of these faster corners where that arrow is necessary. We do see your boy Cable jumping off of the track to stay out of the way of some of these guys, but still encountering plenty of moments on his own, as in the background of the camera behind Seb Bellew, we do see Speed Bump's car just not quite within that drafting range, but looking at their location on the map, it is going to be a very, very close race here between the two of them soon. Love to see how the pit stops play out, who can get in and out of their pit box faster throughout the race session tonight. Got Brendan in the Ferrari. Both Ferraris falling back from their starting positions, currently in P7 and P8, but keeping each other company as the session goes on here. Speed bump is starting to close up that gap on Seb Bellew currently as this session is ongoing. Down to a 1.6 second gap here between Seb and Speed Bump. We'll see if Seb can manage to hold this one out till the end. We all know that Seb will throw an elbow if necessary to keep a driver behind him. Clutch Rush now closed down the gap here but to Vallelunga to less than a second. Currently the closest gap on the race. We will jump our camera back here despite the weird audio that we get when we're using our drone camera, and watch Clutch Rush look for the spot and close that gap in even further on Vallelunga. It does not look like anybody has taken a pit so far, but it looks like from P6 onward in this race session has been lapped by P1 already at this point in time. I say already, but they are 17 laps into this race. Looks like Porsche has not quite been lapped, actually. It looks like they're just closing in on P9 here for the lap traffic. We'll have to see how that comes into play for these guys, as Seb Bellew is going to have to make his way past Brendan, who will be showing the blue flags. Unfortunately, contact with the rear of Brendan as he tried to get out of the way instead of holding his own line and maintaining that predictability. Unfortunately, that does allow Speed Bump through, as well as Dingleberry Nutcracker through past Seb Bellew, as we have your boy Cable again sideways in the track to Seb. Unfortunately, with hot tires, allows a Vallelunga and Clutch Rush through. This has got to be devastating for Vallelunga at this, or for Seb Bellew at this point in the race, to lose the traffic coming across lapped bars. We'll jump back to the battle between Vallelunga and Clutch Rush. We know that Seb will be pushing, potentially taking his pit stop at this point in time to finish out this race session. That is unfortunate that contact came together. We do see Clutch Rush jumping into the pits, going for the undercut. Nobody in front of him has pit at this point in time. We know Clutch Rush does have the pace. Seb Bellew also jumping into the pits behind Clutch Rush. So we see through P4 and 5 jumping in for their pit stop during this race, allowing Vallelunga some clean air and a little less stress to push through until he is ready to finish this one out. We have seen these Porsches go an entire 45-minute race, even with the increased fuel load or fuel burn rate, as we have Brendan closing in on Big Dean Energy through the end of Sector 2 into Sector 3, coming into the final corner. Less than a second between these two cars right now. Both Ferraris pushing each other on as Clutch Rush and Seb do come out of the pits behind Posh in P4. Speed Bump has jumped into the pits, so we'll have to see where this one plays out. Dingleberry is staying out for another lap, as is Vallelunga, extending this first stint as long as possible, burning off as much fuel as they can while their tires are still good. We've got Seb Bellew within a half a second of Clutch Rush at the moment. Fresh tires and a fresh car ready to go for the remainder of this race. As they are closing in on the car in front, who will be Posh in the BMW just ahead. I would expect to see Posh jumping into the pits here soon, unless he is
Hello.
attempting to extend through.
Hello, how's it going?
You missed Seb's unfortunate contact with lapped cars as they were coming through,
Oh, man, what a shame.
and
That is unfortunate.
he fell back to P5. Clutch Russ and Seb are the only ones who have taken their pits out of the front runner so far. We see Clutch Russ stick a nose in deep and make contact here with Posh, but it looks like both of them managed to get away with it pretty well here. We do see Big Dean Energy in the background there. Speed Bump has also gone into the pit now, so we see that gap from Speed Bump back to Clutch Russ and Seb is the accurate time here of about 20 seconds due to that contact with the lapped car, as Posh goes a little wide and loses the position here. We're going to jump back up with Clutch Russ and Seb, who are the closest battle on the field here. We do have both Lamborghinis retired from this race session.
Oh, that's a shame. Dang it. They should have had the mediums on. Next time, I'm sure they'll get it. But
you definitely should have went with a little bit more resilient of a tire here. So Dingleberry, Nutcracker, and Vallelunga have both not gone into the pit yet.
Yeah.
Looking at their lap times, they are continuing to be consistent. Dingleberry a little bit slower than Vallelunga on the last lap there. Looks like he may have had a bit of a moment, as I see his delta is in the red pretty significantly on this lap as well. I wonder if he's going to attempt to fuel save this one and manage to finish this one out without a pit stop.
Speed would have to go very fast if he were to catch up, but I mean, it's a second a lap. He's got 17 minutes left. He's 24, 23, 26 seconds off the leader currently. So that would be it would need to be just about 2 seconds a lap probably to catch up.
Yeah, I figure there's probably about 14 laps left in this race.
Yeah.
Big Dean Energy has gone into the pit for his stop on this lap. Really need to figure out what this audio issue that I'm having with this drone camera is. It does drive me a little bit crazy sometimes. As Dingleberry Nutcracker has gone into the pits, we'll see if Vallelunga sticks out, which he does. We have seen drivers in the past in this Porsche go the full 45 minutes without a pit stop on the soft tires, but Vallelunga is on the mediums, so he may be looking to finish this entire race without a pit. We do have Seb Bellew directly on the tail of Clutch Russ at this point in time. Speed Bump has passed Dingleberry Nutcracker in the pits, as we see Dingleberry is starting to move out of the pits now. He should get out ahead of these guys, and by the time he is up to racing speed, this gap is going to maintain at probably 8 seconds or so. Maybe less, maybe down to 6. As Dingleberry gets into T1 with a 6-second gap, that is going to be where these guys are going to slow down, meaning that should be about where this gap is. Dingleberry's going to have to push like hell if he wants to keep this space from Clutch Russ, who does have the fastest lap of the race.
I was just thinking how much if he was gonna go for the pit, it would have to be sooner than later because of the gap to Speed Bump coming down so much. But he does have a chance here. He does have a chance here. If he's able to do what Seb is doing and keep up with Clutch, then he might have some left in the tank to fight for that final podium position. But we'll see. It's looking great.
Yep, we see Vallelunga did put up a 112 on his last lap, and he has gone past the pit again here. There's 15 minutes remaining. We'll see if he's going for a splash and dash or if he's gonna try to avoid that pit altogether. He's got almost
Oh
a
man,
full
bot.
sector advantage on speed bump right now.
Yeah, if he is able to do a splash and dash, I think that would be ideal. The medium tire should hold out for just long enough for the whole stint. It is not going to be. I mean, it'll be doing better than a soft tire at the end of a stint for sure, but by how much, especially after speed got onto a new soft, I don't know. We'll see. This is exciting.
Yeah,
Very well done
we
by
can see
SW.
Clutchruss is the only driver at this point in time who has broken into the 110s during the race session here. So we definitely know that speed bump does have more in the tank if he's willing to burn it.
Seb Bellew also on the 111.0 mark.
Yeah, it looks like Seb
Let's
Bellew
see.
has the second fastest lap in the race right now. Speed bump with a 111.0 as well, a 111.074 versus Seb's 111.029. Looking through the rest of the pack, it looks like there's a couple, or it looks like it would be Dingleberry with a 111.2, and then everybody else is more than a 111.5, including Batlando, our current leader.
We're gonna shake down to like a last couple laps is when the pack will come back together. Because if Seb Bellew keeps hanging out like not too far away from Clutch, he's gonna be dragged into this with him.
Oh yeah, definitely.
As we see. Your boy Cable is in front of both Nutcracker and Clutch Russ. Coming up soon, final corner. See if he's able to clear the traffic quickly.
He did hang it around the outside, allowing Dingleberry through without contact. Looks like he is immediately jumping off of the racing line here. We're going to jump back with Clutch Russ to see if he can manage to get through. We have seen some incidents passing Cable here, but it looks like they're going to catch him later on and hopefully manage to avoid contact, as Cable does trigger a yellow flag going wide through the corner here, but Clutch Russ gets through clean, as well as Seb Bellew. Looks like he jumped out of the way for these guys to let them through. We got Batlando still pushing out. He is yet to pit with 12 minutes remaining.
Wow. He was one of the drivers to stick on the medium tire, the only driver in the top running at the moment to stick on the medium tire at the beginning of the race, and he is still going with a sizable gap. He still has 20 seconds. I have to think it would be around 20 seconds to get the pit stop off.
Yeah, his last lap here was a 111.6, on pace with speed bump still on these 27 lap old medium tires.
Did we see what a lap looked like during a pit stop? Let's see.
Dingleberry had tires and pits, and it was approximately a 35-second slower out lap and a 10-second slower in lap. So
it's a lot of time in the pit lane for sure.
It is definitely a lot of time in the pit lane for these guys if they decide that they need to go through the pits here. Just gonna leave this on the track cam and we can jump around as traffic comes up. We got P2 coming up on P7 here through the final corners. We got speed bump coming up on Big Dean Energy and Posh, as that appears to be one of the closest gaps right now that we have between Posh and Big Dean Energy. So we'll jump on the camera operator for Big Dean Energy here, and we will follow him throughout the race.
Dean has been doing a great job. Dean has been slowly hanging on as we see Mr. Nutcracker with the fastest Sector 3 of the session. And a great lap from him. Oh my gosh, we have another driver in the 111 zeros. That's unbelievable. It appears that Dean is still in the in the dirty air behind the BMW, struggling to maintain traction in the high speed. He's gonna try to take advantage.
That is definitely one of the pain points of some of these faster cars, as your boy Cable does go off again in the final corner, but Botlando gets around him cleanly. We've got Big D and Energy still pushing on Posh, but Speed Bump has joined the fray and they will be getting the blue flags. Now, remember, blue flags are entirely informational for these drivers. They do not have to jump out of the way for the faster class. However, they cannot defend, but due to the fact that they are fighting for position, they do not have to give up that fight to let Speed Bump by.
We'll see. We'll see what Dean does, as I'm sure he'll be thinking about as well as Speed Bump, who has to lock up the car just to not go into the rear spoiler. That while you may have to lose a little time to let the faster car by, you will be able to take advantage of the faster cars. We see a lot of cars coming in, multiple laps of different lap traffic.
Yep, we've got Cable here again. No contact going through that corner, fortunately, as Speed Bump does get an exit and sends it around the outside of Big Dean Energy. There is a little bit of rubbing his racing coming through here, as Dean is trying to keep up with Posh ahead for position.
You got to remember, Dean, you'll be able to take advantage. As we see, wow, what a great low camera angle to see the attitude of each car as they came around the corner. That was awesome.
We've got Botlando still out on track with 8 minutes remaining. I think he may be extending this for the entire race.
Man, if he's able to, I mean, I think he's also counting on, maybe he's counting on the fact that if something big happens behind, if he has a big enough gap, he'll be able to make the pit stop and get away cleanly. But currently, it's only slowing down. Well, Speed Bump has been able to get away, as we see Dean lining up the move right on the back end of that BMW. Let's see if he's able to keep tires on the track. He handles the bump well.
We can see that bonnet bouncing every time he hits a bump.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That front end is crushed in. Unfortunately, he probably does not have much of a front splitter. The dirty air is going to be extra effective against Mr. Dean, unfortunately.
Yeah, especially
but he's still doing well
with these aero-dependent cars like the Ferrari and the McLaren. As Dean lines up on the inside through Roma with 7 minutes remaining. We've got about 5 to 6 laps of the race remaining. Botlando did dip into the pits, but he has come out in front of Speed Bump still, as they go side by side through curve 1, and Speed Bump manages to creep his way ahead, but Botlando does hold out in front of Dingleberry with this splash and dash on the final little section of the race here.
Wow. Unbelievable. Well done to Mr. Botlando.
Big Dean Energy did make it past Posh through that final corner and is currently in P6 in the Ferrari. We do have a retirement from Brendan in the other Ferrari, 28 laps into this race here as well, unfortunately.
This is like a small endurance race. This is crazy.
Yeah, the number of laps on the short track, the amount of focus that it takes for these guys to run short laps consistently for 45 minutes is wild. This is going to be a 35 lap race for these guys in a 45 minute period.
Much as like Posh a go-kart track.
And Big Dean Energy come side by side through the final corner again. These guys are just trading positions at this point.
Yeah. A lot of fun to watch them go, though. Everybody currently on track, except for your boy Cable, is in the 111s, I have to say. Or their best lap is in the 111s or a high 110 from Mr. Clutch Rust. So I just have to say, well done to everybody that's been able to make it through. I do feel bad for Mr. Soup, Brendan, and Bullet, our only 3 retirees, I should say, for the evening. I wish them much better luck in the next session.
Looks like Botlando
very well done
fallen back a little bit from Speed Bump. with the colder tires out of the pit. However, he's still sniffing the fumes coming through these corners. I think Speed Bump's got this one set as long as he doesn't make any major mistakes in this next 5 minutes here. We know he has the pace.
He does have a clear track. He does have a clear track for quite some time. So he should be able to just settle in and knock the laps down like a professional. The professional he is.
Yes, Speed Bump is definitely the most experienced racer on the track at this point in time. We do have Clutch Russ, who is a fairly new racer who has joined us earlier this spring. And when he first came in, he really has shown a massive amount of improvement since he joined Real Rookie Racing here. Anybody who is watching and is not already a part of the Discord, you can find a link down in the description below. We run our races Monday through Friday with an iRacing race every other Saturday at this point in time. With season races for MX-5s on Mondays and GT3s on Fridays for the official title of season champion. As these guys continue to push through the final 3.5 minutes of our race, as Speed Bump comes across the line with 3:30 on the clock. This means we're going to have 3 more minutes of racing, or 3 more laps of racing, unless Speed Bump manages to somehow break into the 109s over these last 3 laps. Everybody has separated out a little bit, and we can watch as these guys finish out their race one at a time, with the closest gap on track right now being Big D Energy to Posh with sub 2 seconds. Everybody else has spread out a little bit. We see Bot Lando potentially fuel saving. Did he under fuel? Just looking at how fast that gap is growing. Got your boy Cable has teleported to the pit with 2 minutes remaining of the race session here. And we will jump on board with Speed Bump as he finishes up the penultimate lap here. We've got 1 more lap to go. We will follow Speed Bump as he brings us home and follow the other cars across the line. As we finish this one out, what a race.
Yeah. An excellent job from everyone. Speed Bump really showing the class of the field. And man, especially in such a difficult balanced car to drive, it's a lot of fun to watch him hurl it around the track.
As he has a little bit of a wiggle through Semaphoro.
Handles it well, of course. But yeah, a really great job by Lando with the excellent strategy call on the Porsche. Really, really well done. when we started this race, I was not sure. I definitely was eyeballing him with those medium tires, but I was not sure what he was thinking with that strategy, especially thinking everybody else was going to pit at least at the 22-minute mark. But
The speed bump does cross
following
the
along
line
with
in P1 here,
yeah,
but Lando comes across
well done.
in P2. We've got Posh finishing out in P6, Dingleberry finishing out P3, Clutch Russ in P4 just behind Dingleberry. We've got Seb Bellew in P5 in that Nissan GTR.
Oh, man, what a great race!
What a wild race here. Big D Energy finishing out in P7. And your boy Cable is parked in the pits. Jump over, do the nose rubbing of speed bump and bot Lando here in the grass.
Oh my lord, they're kithing.
They're kithing.
No kith.
We've got some of the guys here
Let's see some racing.
just vibing, running
Caution
some laps
Dean.
here.
Caution Dean, yes sir.
Caution
They're just
Dean
having some fun.
still racing, having some fun.
Dean does not want to get hit in the rear.
Any of you guys who are still hanging out in the chat here, again, we run our races
so much.
Monday through Friday, iRacing on every other Saturday at this time. Join the link in the description below, and we'll see you guys on track. Thanks for joining.
Thanks so much, everyone.
You guys have a great night.